What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop back here. Week 3, first game, going to be our Thursday Night Football edition. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I mean, last Wednesday, we had a talk about Thursday night football games, the Bills, the Dolphins, having those spotlight games, and we need to appreciate those moments. And it turned out we didn't even have that much time to appreciate them. We're already into that part of the season where they're giving us the dumpster diving games. We got the Jets. Obviously, we got the Patriots, too. Ugly teams as the total reflects. So, it's already that time of year. It felt like last year it was like week 7 when we started complaining. Like they gave us a little longer runway of like elite games. But that's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm happy we've got football. And I actually do, as I was telling you before the show, surprisingly like this game the more I look at it. I do think there are a couple, solid betting angles in here. So excited to talk about it. I know it's ugly. I know it might not be people's favorite game, but hey, we can still win some money, and that's my favorite thing to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, honestly, it might be better than last week's game because last week's game was awful. Obviously, Tua goes out, and that game turned into just a fucking shit show. So, agree that we're already kind of getting to that spot where it's kind of gross already. But we're back. We're still here. Obviously, still doing our Wednesday slate. And obviously, want to be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you guys here. So, should be a good one. We can talk about the recap of our last game, and we finally got our sweep. We got our sweep out there. A little sweaty, but a catch. I'll let you talk about it first.
Yeah, no, Hurts 9.5 rush attempts. I mean, he was off early and often, a little bit of tush pushing, a little bit of read option. It was pretty much exactly like we said it would be. It was awesome. And honestly, my first thought after watching this game is I see no reason why we wouldn't go right back next week. You know what I mean? Like if they set us this number again, I'm probably making that click again. So shout out to Jalen Hurts. I mean, he got this done very easily for us. They were running early and often. I was very happy with how this game went. I feel like I talked the whole time about how ugly it would be, how like neither offense would look amazing. And I feel like we saw that. We saw the weaknesses of both of these teams. So definitely enjoyed this game and enjoyed cashing this ticket right here.
Yeah, mine was a little sweatier, man. They did not throw the ball. They were just not throwing the ball. He was just running away from stuff. And I mean, I had a few of those plays where I'm like, Goddard's open, man. And then he just takes off. And I'm like, you think you don't want to take that many hits, but it is what it is. Obviously, the Eagles blow a game, which I enjoyed seeing as a non-Philadelphia person. So happy to see them take an L there. Especially the thing is I like Saquon though. Like I wish if anybody else on that team dropped that ball. That would have been fine. Unless it was like Goddard catching his third pass, then I would. But like, gotta like I'm very happy to see that, especially with all the stuff there. Goddard took us to the last drive to get that. Saquon obviously crushed that number. 20-something carries on the ground. Obviously 3 or 4 catches through the air. This dude's workload is elite, man. And it's got to be a guy that you look forward to betting going forward because, I mean, even with Hurts, how many rush attempts was it? Like 13?
Yeah.
12 or 13, something like that. You still have 22 carries for your back. It's pretty wild. I know A.J. Brown's out, and that might change, but still.
They did it against your Packers, too. I know there were a lot of plays running that game, but it was
76 offensive.
Yeah, I was going to say, a little caveat, but like they've shown the willingness to do it all year. And like you said, no A.J. Brown. I'm not sure what the update on that injury is. I haven't seen.
It's been a few weeks before the last game, so I'd assume he's out this week.
Yeah. Well, as long as that happens, this team's going to have to run the ball a shit ton. Because once again, it doesn't take a genius to just look at the wide receiver depth chart and go, okay, Devonta Smith is good. Who else is good on this team? And it's like Dallas Goedert, I thought he'd be way more involved. I mean, I tailed your play. We luckily did get that cash at the end. I also played over 4.5 first quarter receiving yards, which I keep playing this first quarter market. I haven't posted anything about it yet because I'm getting absolutely slammed every time. Like Goddard looked like the most obvious play in the world and then, doesn't do anything. So that was an interesting one. I would be very careful with Goddard going forward as well as pretty much anyone but Devonta Smith because he's the only receiving option in that team at this moment.
Yes, sir. And that moves us to positive record, but still in the negative there a little bit. 0.84, but we're 8-7 on the season now. My biggest thing, too, is just like, and this can be kind of like an overlooking thing before we head into talking about Sunday first here. My God, dude, the tight end position's been dog shit, bro.
Oh.
Bad.
Oh.
Bad.
Yeah, it's been brutal, dude. I've been saying this ever. I know nobody cares about your fantasy team, blah, blah, blah. Week 1, Luke Musgrave, 0 points. Okay, kick him to the curve. Last week, Cade Auden, minus 0.4. He had no catches, and he went back 4 yards. This week, I've got Hunter Henry. So I'm praying for everyone else out there. I'm sorry if I cursed you. If he puts up negative yardage, that is my bad. But it's been brutal. It's as a whole, it's been brutal. The elite guys have been brutal. Kelsey, Laporta, the cheap guys, the Aden's been brutal. Like across the board, it's been rough. But Hunter Henry tonight is a guy that, I mean, he 12 targets last game, 8 catches. I mean, but let's hope for my sake that he's involved tonight.
I'm just sitting over here smiling because big old Mike Gesicki put up a 20 piece for your boy. That boy put up a little 20 piece for me. I'm feeling fucking great about it because I have Gesicki in every single one that I have Laporta, in every single one that I have Kelsey. So I just need him to do it good for a week, right? I just need him to pick up the slack because I have Kelsey in my big league. I will tell you this. This might be the craziest thing before we get into the slate. My team last week, I had Josh Allen, awful, fucking sucked. Christian Kirk with 0.9. Travis Kelsey. And I won. And I fucking won. Alvin Kamara, 50 piece.
Oh, okay.
CeeDee Lamb, 25. Bijan, 25. And then, obviously, the greatest kicker in the history of ever, Brandon Audrey. What the hell, dude? This dude's the greatest kicker of all time already, bro. And the Jets' defense, right? I mean, I had 3 dudes combined for 15 points. And my quarterback, my number 1 tight end, like number 1 in fantasy, and then Christian Kirk combined for 15 points. And we still got the job done. Scary, though, bro. Shout out Bijan for coming through late in that game. And he looked great, man. He looked great. Drake London got into the game there. Still, no Kyle Pitts, though.
Yeah, no, I mean that the chances of that are pretty crazy, but yeah, shout out to Bijan. He's on all my teams as well, looking pretty good. Shout out Kyle Pitts. He's on none of my teams. He still looks like Kyle Pitts, so that feels pretty good. Like, I wonder next year what people are going to do that have just been like holding those bags for 3 years. Like, no, he's so good. I promise, he's so good. Like, what happens after another year of just being like okay to like slightly above average? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm praying for you guys. I don't hate Kyle Pitts. It's just like I could never be convinced at the hype level he was at.
Yeah, I mean, what, 4th, 5th tight end off the board? It's kind of tough. It's tough to see. But all right, Stu, let's get into first look for Sunday. Then we'll get into our best bets for Thursday Night Football. First look, obviously, the show went crazy last week. Everybody must have liked how we did it with the first look here. I think today we just start off because it's going to be a shorter show, obviously, with a 1-game slate. What is the game? We always talk about the game we want to watch the most. What is the game that you're going to be kind of, looking for in that prop market? Something that you could easily look to both sides.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like next week's slate's interesting. A lot of ugly games, a lot of weird favorites that won't be favorites very often, but speaking of that, Saints-Eagles, I mean, oh my God, the biggest line move we've seen in a while for like a non-injury, right? Like this was not because Hurts went down or anything like that. We're talking about a team that was a 3.5-point favorite, almost even a 4-point favorite in some spots, to now being the underdog after just 1 week of an impressive week, don't get me wrong, of Derek Carr going absolutely ham against an even better defense, and then the Eagles looking pretty weak on primetime. So that game, man, I think from a betting perspective, I already mentioned it, Jalen Hurts rushing attempts is something that I'd be very interested to go back to. I think that game could be unlimited offense. I mean, the Saints defense doesn't look like anything special so far, but if they're going to keep producing anything close to what they're doing right now through the air, the Eagles have no defense. I mean, the Eagles, one thing that they're supposed to have was at least that like rush defense. At least the rush defense was supposed to hold up. Nothing about that unit looked good. They weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. They weren't effectively stuffing the run. Like, there are a lot of problems with that Eagles defense. So I think the Saints, with how they're looking, that game is going to be an absolute blast. I think I'll probably be on the over. I haven't decided on like a spread side yet. I think I could be convinced to get back on the Eagles just at a certain point. Like the line has just moved too much, but I do think just in terms of like an over, in terms of player props, I think that game's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, and I mean, this was, I think, the most impressive thing for me. Was obviously Kamara goes crazy. Obviously, Olave gets his, right? Derek Carr did all that without throwing the ball to the tight end at all. Juwan Jennings had nothing. He had a big old goose egg in that game, and he still put up a 40 piece on the Cowboys defense. One of the top 3 defenses taken off the board in fantasy draft. So it's like, still put that up. So pretty impressive. Mine's going to be the Cardinals. I think it's always the Cardinals at this point because I love Kyler Murray. I have him in 2 leagues. I have Trey McBride in a league. I have a lot of Trey McBride in DF or in best ball. And we saw him wake up a little bit, even though Trey McBride had to score his touchdown on a fumble, right? That's his touchdown. He got to score it on a fumble. Shout out to him for that. Hey, we love the hustle, baby. We love that fucking hustle, baby. And obviously Marvin Harrison going crazy there, but wow, what is going to happen in this game, bro? Like, we just saw, I mean, obviously you can't really take anything from the Rams because Cooper Kupp getting hurt in the second quarter just turned that game into just a shit show. Kyren Williams, I don't take anything from him only getting like 1.8 yards a carry. Like, I don't take anything from that game saying that Arizona's got a good rush defense when I saw James Cook just shred those dudes for week 1. So what are you going to do with the 2-headed monster back there, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs? Probably going to have one of those guys in DFS this week in my lineups because I don't know who I'm trusting on the other side of the offense right here with Amon-Ra being kind of hurt, Laporta not doing much, and Jameson Williams needing a big play, right? And so you got to pick your poison there because there's a lot of run backs, like a lot of really nice spots where you can just take, all the receivers for Arizona because the Lions defense front 7 is fantastic, but they can get shredded in the deep end. I'm going to be looking at some of those pass catchers. I'm going to be I'm going to figure out if I want to do Gibbs or David Montgomery, but I think that's going to be a fun game, and I'm sure you guys will see a little bit from me on that game on Friday.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, when you talk about one that jumps off the page with offense, like that's going to be it right there. I agree with you. The rushing attack for Detroit is going to be lethal in this one. I think that's where we'll really see like the 2-headed monster of like Montgomery giving you that like 15 for 80 and a touchdown. Gibbs probably another like 40 on the ground, 30 through the air, like just showing you exactly what this team was kind of built to do, right? To grind people down. The Cardinals are kind of the defense that's susceptible to that, but Kyler Murray's having fun out there. I really wanted to bet his rush yards last week. I didn't end up doing it. I played
pretty high though. Like it kept getting steam, and it's so hard when you feel like you missed that number.
I was going to say, I ended up playing his 55 plus at the last minute, and I cashed that one as a nice little long shot. So that was fun. But like he's running really well. He looks like the same guy. Like I wanted to go big on that 30 rush yards, but like seeing him kind of scramble around and even able to catch those long shots and stuff, like, I don't know, Kyler to the moon, man. He could be looking real good this year.
Yeah, because I did the Kyler passing yards as a play on the show or whatever. But I also took the long shot on rushing, and he ended up catching the long shot on rushing. I'm like, damn, dude. And that was with no Marvin Harrison doing anything. So, yeah, let's take a look at the chat. We got Coop in here. Flam Fam going to Lambeau. Should be cool. It'll be a cool experience. Hopefully Jordan Love's back. Cross your fingers, man. Hopefully.
I was going to say, Malik Willis, his line just opened, Like I just saw it was 160.
Malik Willis going for 350, bro, against his own team, bro. Going for 350. That'd be plus 10 million. I'll fucking take it, bro.
That would be that. I want to see Malik Willis in that game because I was so big on the unders last week. That was
in Nashville. I forgot. It's not at home, is it?
Oh, okay.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, though. I'm excited. I hope Willis starts instead of Love, just for the narrative, for the mess. Like, I don't know. Like, the Titans' defense is good, but, like, it depends on how smart they are, I would say. Like, how willing are you to commit everything to stopping the run? Like, that's what you have to do. You have to just commit everything to stopping the run. Throw away your base defense, throw away what you normally do, and just make Willis beat you. Like, you gotta make him beat you. And if he does, that would be hilarious. Like, former team, they doubted him, never trusted him. Like, that's going to be a great narrative game. And from a spread perspective, like, just leave me the fuck away from that. Like, I have no interest in betting aside because LaFleur, like we said, he coached his ass off last week. I mean, getting them that win was very impressive. I'm not sure if you can do it 2 times in a row, being that one-dimensional. I saw that Malik Willis, 9 of his 12 completions were to his first read. He was locking, he was firing, he was doing like the bare minimum. But if the defense is going to let you do that, And you could win games like that. So, it's kind of up to the Titans defense how smart we think they are. New staff, I can't really speak to that as much right now, but I think that's going to be a really interesting game. And maybe Malik Willis rush yards is just the move if he keeps on going the way he was last game.
Honestly, bro, it might have to be because, my God, dude, I don't even know how they did it last week. That reminded me, I need to go place that bet, bro. I need to go place that LaFleur bet because when he puts up a 300 game with Malik Willis in there, bro, they'd be like, shit, man. We just saw this dude go, 0-3, 40 yards a game for 3 straight games, and he goes to his old team and puts up 300, 3 tutties. Romeo Dobbs, 150. Reed, 150, bro. Like, damn, I'm feeling good about that. We'll see, though. Obviously, talking about that game, we get to move on to Thursday Night Football. Titans obviously just played the Jets last week. That's one of the teams we'll be talking about here. We got 30 of you guys in here live with us. Hit that like button if you could. Let's talk about spread and total here first, and then we'll get into some props too. Looking at the numbers here, 38.5 juice to the over. 6 is the line I'm seeing. I'm using DraftKings exclusively right now, not best line anywhere, but Jets are -6, -112, a little bit more juice on that side. If you had to pick one, Stu, where are you going?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. It reminds me a lot of Monday Night Football, surprisingly, where you have, in my opinion, a favorite that is very one-dimensional in the Jets, similar to the Eagles, where if the Jets can't get Breece Hall going and can't establish that run, their offense doesn't work. Like, even through 2 weeks, you can just tell it's the old Rodgers offense, but instead of having him be a superstar and kind of make crazy plays, you're really relying on the rush action to kind of open up those deep shots, to open up the play action. Like, you need Hall to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So when I see a one-dimensional team, or in my opinion, what at least there's like kind of a win condition that the defense can figure out and use to limit you, I would normally not be very inclined to lay like 6 points as a favorite. The biggest differentiator and the reason why I was on the Falcons and I'll probably not bet on the Patriots is this team is decimated with injury right now. All 5 starting offensive linemen on the injury report, 2 of them limited. The others didn't practice. That was the one you get in this little warm-up week. Man, already one of the worst units kind of out there, now dealing with nagging injuries. They already lost some defensive players as well. Like, the Jets are like, they're a terrible favorite. I don't want to lay a defense-first rushing team as the favorite, but like, I do see a lot of liability here. I would love to bet the Patriots if they could be anywhere close to healthy. So if I had to lean, it would be the Patriots side. I would just say the under is the move. Like, if what I'm saying is true and the Patriots do stall an offense like they always do, and the Jets can't get that run game going, then it's just going to be an under. Unless we see some crazy turnovers, some defensive touchdowns, I think it's going to be an under. So that I would like to bet the Patriots, but I don't think I can quite get there with all the injuries. So I think the under would be what I would take.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of cheat on this answer, and I'm gonna go. If I was gonna bet anything, I'd probably take the first half under, because that second half of the Jets, dude, they turned up.
That's true.
They figured it out and turned it up. That's the thing with Rodgers. That's always kind of what it's always like that, feeling out process, and then he just kind of turns it on. So whenever I bet an under in a Rodgers game, it's usually first half, because you could see like they started figuring out, oh, this is what they're doing. This is how they're stopping this. You saw more Allen in the second half. You saw him start to incorporate, Garrett Wilson. I think he only had like 2 catches in the first half.
Yep.
Second half, he got a nice 30-yard catch in there as well. So 19.5, I know it's low, but I feel like that would be a spot I would do if I had to bet anything here. 6 is just scary, bro. It's just right there. And it's going to be just a fucking barn burner on that spread, because, yes, the Jets are a better team, but 38.5 total, sitting at that, dude, that's a huge number to be laying in a game like this.
Yep. And like I said, I would be like the first guy there if it wasn't for all these injuries, which I think is the reason why it's like that. Sorry, do you see our chat right now?
Yeah,
too much gambling nowadays. This feels like a bot. Does this not feel like a bot?
We've seen this guy before.
This is obviously a gambling show. Like, this is so obviously a gambling show. If you don't want to watch people gamble, I'm with it. More power to you, brother. Head somewhere else. You're clearly on the wrong spot. This is hilarious. But
there you go. I just had to get rid of him, bro.
Damn, what a guy.
I've seen him in here, so he must. I don't know if StreamYard only gives guys let them be removed for like a certain period, but I remember that little logo and putting him on timeout before, bro. And I'm like, damn, bro, what are we doing here? Like, you could go watch anything else, dude. What you doing with your day? If we're popping up on your For You page, you must be losing a lot of money then. You know what I mean? You must be pissed off because you're losing a lot of money that we're popping up on your stuff, and now you're just doing it there. But we'll let you keep talking, Stu. Sorry, we had a bot in here.
Yeah, Russian ping pong must not have treated him well last night. You know, he might be cleared out on the Russian ping pong. So who knows? More power to that guy. You know, good luck going forward in life. I don't know. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about anymore at this point.
Just how big of a spread it is for a 38.5.
And I was going to bring up, I actually do really like your analysis on Rodgers' first half versus second half. And I actually do think he'll look a lot better in the second half because the Patriots defense is pretty good, but they can't pressure the quarterback. That's been their weakness. They're bottom 5 in pressure rate so far this year. So I think Rodgers will probably like bang Hackett's head against the wall a couple times at halftime and be like, can I throw the ball? And then they'll let him throw the ball a little bit more. So honestly, if you're a guy that has prize picks or underdog, I'm going to be smashing Rodgers first half under. Like I really like that call in what you were saying, because I already like Rodgers passing unders in general. But I do think with what you're saying, I think the first half is going to be where it's really weak. They're going to run the ball a shit ton. And then they're going to go into that locker room. He's going to be like, Hackett, what are we doing here, buddy? Like, let me throw the ball. Because by the way, we haven't even mentioned it this year. That guy's like the worst coach in football. And it's so funny that he's still just sticking around because his buddy is the quarterback. So I do like that a lot. I will be playing those first half unders.
I love when all these people talk shit on Hackett and then Rodgers defends him and he's still fucking god awful. Like the only reason he gets a job, though, it was so bad. Who was it, Russ? I think it was Russ who pretty much said he sucked, right? He pretty much did.
Yeah.
Said he was not good in the nicest way possible because Russ couldn't just like bash somebody. He's too nice. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, just say it, bro. This dude's fucking shit. Dude. He's awful. He's terrible. But hey, more power to you. You can find a way. It's not what you know, it's who you know, right? That's what it is, pretty much. So let's get to some bets. We got some bets for you guys today. Stu, I'll kick it over to you. Take it away, my man.
Sounds good. We got Ramondre Stevenson over 2.5 catches. We're doing minus 139 on Caesars. There is minus 132 on Bet Rivers right now if you have that. And I think MGM kept going back and forth between minus 140 and minus 130. So those might be slightly better over there, but obviously Caesars will let you bet more money. They are a much better sports book. So we went over on that book right here. Man, I like this play a lot. I think Stevenson, in my head, I really thought his receiving game workload would kind of take a hit with Antonio Gibson, considering Gibson, if we remember, was drafted as a wide receiver running back combo. He was even read out both of them at the draft day. It's one of those things where his pass catching has always been what's amplified the most about him, especially in Washington. But that's not been his role at all. Surprisingly, they've used him a little bit more on early downs and in the rushing game. Last week, we saw Ramondre Stevenson run 21 routes. Antonio Gibson only ran 4. So obviously we saw a very similar breakdown in the first game where Stevenson was running 70% of routes, but you could kind of chalk that up to, okay, the game script, they were surprisingly leading, right? Who knew they'd be leading against the Bengals? So no real reason to have them out there, and pass catching downs, they don't need it as much. But last game it was back and forth. They were trailing at times. They were behind. They needed to utilize that. And Stevenson was out there running routes, which is really the most important thing. You can't catch a pass, obviously, if you don't have the volume. What was really impressive to me, though, when you break this down even more, man, I mentioned it in the game preview, the Patriots offensive line is going to be really bad, guys. Like, so far this year, I saw from one of the Patriots beat reporters, Patriots opponents have only blitzed them 6 times on the year. So it's almost all 4-man rushes, no crazy blitz packages. We're just sending our guys at you. That's still allowed a 45.9% pressure rate on the season through 2 games. That's god awful. Additionally, via MB Fantasy Life, they rank as the worst team in the league in allowing quick pressure, which is pressure in under 2.5 seconds. So the offensive line isn't just getting beat, they're getting beat bad. So what happens when you're only allowed, less than 2 seconds to throw the ball? You can't get it down the field. You don't have those options. It has to be screens. It has to be short yardage checkdowns because your offensive line isn't even allowing you the opportunity to let it get down the field, which is obviously perfect for a guy like Stevenson, who's going to be pretty much exclusively catching screens. There's a reason his receptions is juiced at 2.5 and his yards is only 14.5. You barely ever see that, but it's because all of these are going to be near the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have much of a choice. But let's say the offensive line does play better than expected. It's a little bit surprising. They come out. Maybe these injuries actually help them. You know what I mean? Just like we were talking about with Emmanuel Forbes in my Washington secondary, sometimes you have addition by subtraction, right? Somehow this line gets better. Well, now, so what? You're trotting out the worst wide receiver group in the country against the best secondary group in the country. I mean, it's crazy. These are the biggest on paper mismatches, some of the ones you'll see all year long, right? We're talking about they don't have a true wide receiver one. It's Polk, DeMario Douglas, and freaking KJ Osborne, who's got Sauce going to guard? Like, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? The biggest thing for me was seeing DJ Reed and Michael Carter log full practices. That was huge because both of those guys were questionable for this week and they could be out. But seeing Reed and Carter both practice is huge. That means all three corners are going to be healthy. I'll take all three of those guys against any one of those Patriots wide receivers. Like I said, it's probably the most lopsided wide receiver versus cornerback matchup we're going to see all year long. Additionally, CJ Mosley, lead linebacker, injured. He is questionable for this game. He did not practice. If he misses, that's going to open up even more short yardage targets. The only overs I would be playing for the Patriots would be Ramondre Stevenson and Hunter Henry. It's going to be check down city. Your wide receivers are outmatched. Your offensive line is outmatched. I mean, the Jets D-line, don't get me wrong, they have underperformed. Obviously, they got Reddick sitting on the bench asking for more money. They lost Huff to the Eagles, who has been bad with the Eagles now. That whole situation was cursed. But this could be the breakout game. Like this, only being blitzed 6 times on the year and allowing a 45% pressure rate is insane. Like, they truly don't have a choice but to be checking the ball down. I see a great question. Aaron or Arish in the chat says, with this logic, wouldn't his rush attempts be better? I think his rush attempts is a solid look. I won't disagree with that. I think this part where it becomes really important is the idea that they're going to be likely trailing for a lot of this game in a negative game script. The biggest thing that kind of pushed me over the edge for that would be that Breece Hall going up against that line is going to be a good advantage, right? We saw, I believe, 1, maybe 2 injuries on the Patriots defensive line. Additionally, they lost their lead linebacker, who's been the green dot guy. He's been the leader of their defense the last 3 years. He's out for the rest of the season now. So you're down a D lineman, you're down a linebacker. If Breece Hall is going to control this game the way I think he is, the way the Jets plan to, attack this game, then you're going to be trailing. You're going to be behind. And if there's going to be 20 pass attempts, like only 20, we're talking about 20 completions, a very small completions number. It's very hard for me to not see Ramondre Stevenson hit 3 receptions. But I agree. I like the rush attempts. I just think the rush attempts is more able to be affected by variance. This game, we can see a lot of crazy turnover stuff. Once again, who knows? Maybe even the Patriots, are, playing better than we expect again. But I think if we look at all the different outcomes in this game, I can see his rushing be a lot more effective than his receiving, considering we're really seeing very minimal competition in the receiving, and you are likely to be trailing considering how freaking injured this team is. So didn't mean to talk about this one forever, but I do like the look a lot. And that was a good question because I do agree. I think the attempts are good as well. I just think they're much more likely to actually be affected by this Patriots team being really bad. And that could go down the drain a little faster than expected.
Yes, so on these primetime games, I love the breakdown. I'm going to actually talk about the injuries a little bit as well. So you already did that for me, which is nice. So I'm going to be comboing with an MLB play like I did last week. Obviously, my MLB play hit last week, and then the NFL one dropped. But I'm going to be going to the Dodgers, alternate team total 3.5. I'll talk about that after. But I'm going to Breece Hall, 70 rushing receiving yards on FanDuel right now. So you're going to have to do that. It's minus 122. Minus 310 on Breece Hall, minus 265 on the Dodgers. Breece Hall, let's talk about him first. Obviously, you talked about the injuries. That's the reason why I'm doing the rushing receiving. This dude is an absolute workhorse right now in the passing game. He got more targets than Garrett Wilson again last game. Nice 8-target game for him there. I wanted to buy it down a little bit here too because we have seen Braylon Allen play a little bit more. I'm not as worried about it yet, but this would be the week that I am a little bit worried about it with it being a shorter week, right? And him getting 20 plus touches, right? I think that's the floor. The floor for Breece Hall is going to be 20 touches. If I only need 70 yards from him with me buying this down enough, 3.5 yards a touch is pretty, obviously, very, very doable, obviously. I'm also looking at, the skills position spots that we're looking at, right? And it's Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson's probably getting Christian Gonzalez for a lot of this game, right? I feel like he's going to be – I don't know if he's going to follow all the time there. But you also got to remember, Christian Gonzalez just had some pretty tough matchups and did pretty well, right? Jamar Chase, right? First game, tough matchup. Obviously, he's been playing with Burrow forever. 62 yards. Obviously, I did see the DK Metcalf catch there, but the dude's a specimen. That dude's huge. Didn't have any separation, really, on any of those other catches. And now you're going to have Garrett Wilson about the same size, right? Now it's like the same size guy, right? When you go up against DK Metcalf, that dude's going to get those 50-50 balls just because he's that much bigger, he's that much stronger, and he's got a vertical leap that pretty much is going to beat any cornerback one-on-one. So if I'm looking at the easiest way possible of getting the ball to my best player, it's going to be Breece Hall. It's going to be handing it off. But also, I think there are going to be enough up downs for him to be able to get there as well. Like I said, 8 targets last week. Pretty damn impressive. So 20, I believe, is going to be the floor for touches. Again, I do the quarterbacks when I don't want to take a receiver because I like too many of the receivers. I like both of them. I was going to bet his receiving. I was going to bet his rushing because I don't know which one's going to hit. But I know he's going to have a pop-off on one of them, right? And that's why I kind of like to be playing this rushing receiving line bought down. As for the Dodgers, they are getting Ryan Weathers today. I love betting the Dodgers against left-handed pitching. I know you guys probably don't need to hear anything about the Dodgers against left-handed pitching, but I'll give you a little bit. They're facing Weathers. Weathers right now, obviously not been good this year, but the Dodgers are third in WRC plus versus left-handed pitching. Weathers has been giving up a lot of hard contact. Expected ERA over a run higher than what his actual is. I just can't get away from this team, especially with a bullpen like the Marlins. They threw a guy who was a bullpen arm yesterday, had to use a lot of bullpen arms, and they won yesterday in a 9-7 game, right? I mean, the Dodgers are going to score here. You're going to get that bullpen for enough time as well. I don't think Weathers is getting past 15 outs. The books don't think that either. If I get 4 innings of this bullpen, I think the Dodgers score 4 runs on their bullpen alone, and obviously I don't expect Ryan Weathers to go out there and dominate. I'm seeing his earned runs prop at 2.5 already. So I really like the Dodgers today, probably my favorite stack. Obviously, that's not really huge news when you have 3 MVPs in your lineup. And then I get to roll with Breece Hall. 20 touches. All I need is 3.5 a carry, 3.5 any type of touch, and you're going to give them the ball in space with these injured New England Patriots. I really like this spot for Breece Hall and as well as the Dodgers tonight.
Yeah, I like this spot too. I mean, I just kind of talked about Breece Hall taking over in the game. I think we're in kind of agreement. And it's weird how many similarities I see in this game to like that, even though they're totally different teams, that Monday Night Football game where I felt the same way, where it's like back the running backs. Both running backs are going to touch the ball 20 times. Like back the running backs. Those are the guys to back. Do not try to be a genius and take KJ Osborne this week. He's not good. We know he's not. You know what I mean? You don't need to this is not the week to find that up and coming sleeper. Like this is going to be a game that is kind of outside of the, purebred talent, outside of the blue chip guys. I don't think you're going to see too much production. And I mean, man, the Patriots are just, both teams have been, facing injuries a decent amount, but I think Hall is like you said, going to touch the ball 20 times here. He has upside in the receiving and the rushing. Definitely a great spot. Definitely expecting another very good game from him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I couldn't believe the FanDuel was giving this at 120. I really like this spot here. So, Stu, we got over our 30-minute mark. Before we started dropping plays, we only had 7 likes on the show, boys. We gotta get that up a little bit. We gotta start rolling. There's 38 of you guys still in here. If you could hit that like button, we'd appreciate it. Let's get to our recap here, Stu, and get it rolling.
Sounds good. We got Ramondre Stevenson over 2.5 receptions, -139 over on Caesar Sportsbook.
Beautiful. I'll be on FanDuel here. Dodgers team total over 3.5. Breece Hall 70 rushing plus receiving yards, -122 over on FanDuel. So anything else for the people here? I know this is a tough long shot game. I feel like if I want to do a long shot, maybe it's a defense. Maybe I'm doing some tackles. Maybe I'm doing something like that. Maybe it's an under. I don't know, but it's a tough game to really want to go anything crazy outside of Brees Hall or Stevenson.
Yeah, I haven't bet any yet. I don't. If I have long shots in this game, they're not going to be overs though. Like I was looking at Antonio Gibson under 10.5 rush yards is plus 350, but he is touching the ball more than I've expected. So like I don't know if that's a great look, but like if they're trailing all game, maybe he doesn't get there. I don't know, man. It's maybe like Hunter Henry tight end touchdown probably isn't even a good price. Like I can check real quick. It's probably 480 isn't terrible, but I don't know. I don't have anything right now. I'll probably post something before tomorrow, maybe quote tweet this, but it's kind of hard for me. I did, if you follow on Twitter, I did a little unders parlay for the Monday game. I posted the Prize Picks one where I just took 5 separate unders. It cashed a 4 out of 5 on Prize Picks, which is a 2 times payout. Kirk Cousins, ended up going over, but everyone else went under. So something like that where I just go Rodgers and Brissett under. I go Garrett Wilson under, and then maybe a rushing yards over, with a little correlation there. But yeah, kind of hard to just find a pure long shot for me in this game.
Yeah, dude, it's tough because a lot of these books don't let me buy up. I want to buy up to buy, get the unders. Like they let you buy down on the overs, but I wish they would let me buy, move up, Garrett Wilson from his 60-yard prop. Let me move it up to 80 and take it under. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I really wish a lot of these here. So, but I doubt that that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree though. Alt unders, that kind of stuff. Like if you go up a little more, I know DraftKings and Bet Rivers kind of let you do that, but it's not that widely available for most people. But I see Jason still high on Worthy Flowers. I know, I'm sad. I will warn you, if you ask me for fantasy advice, I will tell you my opinion, but I don't destroy fantasy football. I like sports betting much more. So I'll give you my best opinion. I still like Worthy. And I didn't even know if I still cashed Flowers under longest reception last week. Just unfortunately, they were fucking trailing. Who knew they'd be behind against the Raiders? I mean, I knew it'd be close, but I didn't think they'd be behind. So, yeah, that is my bad on the fantasy. But little fair warning going forward. Much better in the betting questions than the fantasy football questions. Maybe I'll fire those off to you going forward.
Yeah, it's tough though because I mean, you would have had to have the Raiders money line. You should just bet Raiders money line if you were thinking that he was going to start going off like that because man, that was a good performance obviously by the Raiders there. Flame fan parlaying them both. Love to see it. Last question. We have you like Patriots field goal? I'm not a field goal better unless it's pretty obvious. That a team is very good red zone defense, but do you even think that the Patriots are going to be able to move the ball that well early on in this game? Whereas in later in the game, you're probably going to need to score touchdowns and have to go for it. Those it just pissed me off if I would try.
Yeah, for me, you have to have a coach that still coaches like it's the 1950s. So you do have that. That is the positive. That's the number one thing I look for field goal because decision making could change it so much. Obviously, behind red zone defense, like you said. I'm trying to see who even is their kicker. I don't even. Joey Sly. Oh, okay. DC legend Joey Sly. He's okay. He's a middle of the road kicker. I mean, yeah, I'd probably lean over if you put a gun to my head, but am I going to be betting the kicker in this game? Probably not. Is it probably juice too? I feel like you're probably not even getting great odds since the whole world is kind of expecting an ugly, unders ridden game. But yeah, I would lean over on the field goals. But Sly isn't amazing. One, he's just okay. So, that hurts a little bit. And then two, like you said, are they even going to be able to be in the red zone for extended periods of time? And if they are, they're going to be trailing where they need to go for the touchdown. So it looks like plus 110 for 2. Yeah, that's probably because the books don't believe they're going to be in the red zone that much. So probably a pass for me, but I don't hate the look.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, yes, there's only one game, but you don't have to bet everything in this game. It's a tough game. It's a 38.5 total. They don't think it's going to look good either. So, all right, Stu, anything else for the people before we head out? We're pushing that 40-minute mark, pretty much our standard here for these Wednesday shows.
Yeah, no, like I said, feeling great about these picks. This is my only one out so far for Thursday Night Football. You mentioned tackle props. There's some defensive props I want to bet. Nothing's out yet, so I would have actually probably come on here with a defensive prop. So if you are into that kind of thing, I haven't released any, but join me over in 4for4. That's where you'll see it first. Maybe you'll see one on the Friday show too. Who knows? But definitely like some more spots in this game. We'll probably have 2 more props out if you want to see those. Join me over in 4for4. The link is pinned on my Twitter. And yeah, hopefully keep following along. I'll have some long shot stuff out on Twitter for this one. Hopefully, maybe find some nice alt unders or something like that. But yeah, ready to cash some tickets. I feel good about these plays on the show.
Yes, sir. Obviously, full MLB slate for your boy today. Full 15 gamer. It's a fantastic slate for the middle of the week on those days that you don't got football. So obviously, if you're not able to watch the show today, let me know, DM me or something. I'll try to get you another MLB spot or something for tomorrow to go along with it. Obviously, the Dodgers play at night, 5:40 my time. Still only at 10 likes though, guys. Come on, hit that like button before you head out today. Click, real quick. We'll be back Friday, normal time, ready to roll. Yeah, we'll see you then. And best of luck on all of your bets tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, every day. Hope you guys are still making some money with us. So let's get another sweep. We'll see you Friday.